Good evening. Welcome to Mary's World. My name's Tom. The book is called A Protestant Guide to the Blessed Virgin Mary. You can get it on Amazon.com and forward by my friend Robbie Gocklin. Just had a grandson. Congratulations, Rob. So check out the book, A Protestant Guide to the Blessed Virgin Mary. Very simple, scriptural, something that every Protestant definitely needs to get a hold of. Okay, what are we talking about tonight? Okay, let's put it this way. If you are a professor at a Catholic high school, grade school, or university, and you are publicly opposing Pope Francis, should you, in good conscience, continue to teach at that university, especially a Catholic university that has taken an oath of fidelity to the Holy Father? So the question is, the school I graduated from, Franciscan University, Steubenville, Ohio, prides itself on being faithful to the Pope. Now, the truth of the matter is, in Steubenville, I hosted a pro-Pope Francis rally. And this was at St. Peter's Catholic Church outside because they had invited Louis Verrecchio into the church, and Louis publicly opposed to Pope Francis. And, he mocks him and sarcastic about him. But Louis publicly opposing Pope Francis. So I said they shouldn't have him in the church. They shouldn't have this conference in the church because they're publicly opposing Pope Francis, and that's my parish, and I support Pope Francis. So they disagreed with me, and they let this group meet. Well, I had a rally outside of St. Peter's, and I wanted to get university students. So I went and I talked to Father Bradley, and he said, yeah, cool. And so I put flyers up around the campus. Well, come that Friday night, none of the students show up. I find out that a priest ordered all the flyers down because they were supposed to sing at this Scola at Franciscan was supposed to sing at this Catholic Unity Conference. But now that word got out that I was holding a pro-Pope Francis rally, they had to pull out of, doing the music for that conference. So, but they did apparently send a small delegation to the conference to provide the music for these people who are Catholic but are against Pope Francis. A lot of them are against Vatican II, and they definitely prefer the Latin Mass, and they're mad at Pope Francis because he's not doing anything, for the Latin Mass community. So anyway, I had this pro-Pope Francis rally, and one of the professors from the university was there, and he was in total disagreement to what I was doing, and he let me know that. Now, he wasn't disrespectful, but he was definitely on the opposite side here. So now, I had the rally. I went into the Mass afterwards. They had a Latin Mass, so I went into the Latin Mass. The rally was before the Mass. So I'm in there, and then at the end of Mass, I'm giving these people St. John Bosco's dream vision on a piece of paper. And that shows that you need the Holy Father and the Blessed Mother in the last days. So I was just encouraging them not to give up on Pope Francis. And the deacon told me I wasn't allowed to hand these out. And then he, everyone knows what happened, okay? He kind of got aggressive with me, whatever. But I continued to hand out the papers. And Father Jonas was fine. And I've been friends with Father Jonas, and we've spoken since, and there's no hard feelings, okay? So the university now is facing a situation where maybe one or more of its theology professors are against Pope Francis and they're publicly voicing their dissent. So what happens? What do they do in this situation? Is free speech more important than that oath of fidelity to the Holy Father? Is there a way to be loyal to the Holy Father and against him? So these are the questions now that the university has to ask itself now that these apparent accusations have been brought. So as far as why we need to talk about this is because we do need to talk about it. How do you feel about it? How do you feel about having Catholic religion teachers teaching your children to question Pope Francis and his reforms and the things that he's trying to do, and to actually go as far as accusing him of hurting the church? I don't know that this is a situation that any of us have ever faced before in our lifetime. I'm sure they faced it back, in St. Catherine of Siena's day. I remember the people were all against the Pope back then, but she told everybody to stay faithful to the Pope. And so now, should they have lost their jobs because they were disloyal to him? I don't know. I'm just posing the question because the university is going to have to answer that question. So if these guys are not fired, then the university is okay with dissent. Now, I never followed up. The guy took all my flyers down. I didn't follow up because at least the students didn't go and sing, except for a couple. But I mean, I think it significantly altered, the plans. And Dr. Schreck put out a book, Pope Francis, St. Francis, in support of Pope Francis. So he's the head of the theology department, as far as I know. So he needs to exert a little bit of, his authority there. You can't be for Pope Francis and then people in your own department are against Pope Francis unless you think that's okay. But one way or another, you guys need to make a statement about this. It's very, very important. You don't just hide this, but let us know where you stand on that as alumni and parents of current students. Thank you.